What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C4 here, and today I'm bringing to you guys a freestyle, if you will, Eagles fifth down. This was kind of half requested, half something I wanted to get off my chest. So many people ask me, what do I think about the wide receiver position? I said I was going to make a video about the wide receiver position. I don't think I've actually done that yet. I might have, but a lot of people keep saying, hey, make a video about DeSean Jackson, talk about DeSean Jackson and the free agency wide receivers, or how come you keep mocking the Eagles to go wide receiver in the draft? Maybe some more explanation to that. But another question was raised to me, which was my EDP moment from the Eagles grades video, where I kind of live commentated as I was watching the game, and I lost my shit when Jordan Matthews got fucking blatant hit to the head against the Falcons. Keanu Neal leveled him. I'm a big fan of Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal's still my boy from the University of Florida, but that was a pretty greasy hit. And I lost my shit, and rightfully so. I still haven't heard anything from the league if they've said they fucked up that call or anything like that. And I fucking think when refs miss a call like that, especially with how important player safety is, why don't they fucking start fining the refs? That's what I think. I think if the refs make a bad call, they should get fined or something like that. But this video here is going to be more so about that hit and my feelings on the Eagles wide receivers. But I will quickly touch on, people keep asking me about DeSean Jackson. Let me address that elephant in the room as well as free agency. So, I mock Corey Davis. I think Corey Davis out of Western Michigan is the best prospect in this year's draft class. Mike Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster look great, but I don't see, potential to be a number one outside wide receiver, franchise wide receiver in both those guys. I think both those guys are going to be great, but I don't see them being any better than Jordan Matthews. I think they might be fringe 1,000-yard players, but I don't see that, a Mike Evans, an Odell, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones. I don't see any of those guys this year. This is relatively, I wouldn't say it's a weak draft class for wide receiver. I just don't think there's a premier wide receiver. So then that's where you go for potential. And I think Corey Davis has the highest ceiling out of any wide receiver in this year's draft class. I think with Juju Smith-Schuster, he's hot and cold. With Mike Williams, you just don't have the tape on him, man. This year right now, because he had that really, really bad injury with Clemson 2 years ago. He has a small body of work. Same thing goes for John Ross. Corey Davis is one of the few wide receivers that has been able to do it consistently for multiple years in college football. You got D.D. Westbrook, who I think could be a good playmaker, but the size thing is a little bit worrying in terms of spending a high pick on him. So that's why I have Corey Davis, because realistically, let's be honest, maybe with this PED suspension to Alshon Jeffrey, he may be a little bit more realistic to come to the Eagles, but then you also have, it's a fucking lottery. I would not be surprised, especially with skill position players like him, if the Bears are truly letting him go and it's not a side where Alshon just doesn't want to return, maybe they know something we don't in terms of his practice style, his personality. I don't know, because teams don't let franchise wide receivers like that walk. 2, if he does walk, I can't see him going to a win-now team. I can just see him taking the highest payday. And the Eagles simply are not in the financial position, especially when we need to re-sign Benny Logan, and that is almost a must, to really spend a whole lot of money. Unless we cut a lot of dead potential weight in guys like Jason Kelsey, maybe Michael Kendricks, Connor Barwood, stuff like that, a lot of pieces need to be moved around for us to win the Alshon Jeffrey sweepstakes. So I am not getting optimistic at that. You got Terrell Pryor. Like I said, he, in terms of potential and win now, he's probably the most realistic option, I would say, but he's signing his last contract. He's 28, so maybe in 2-3 years he's gonna be definitely on the downside of things. And is he really a wide receiver 1, or is he, again, much like Jordan Matthews, a really good wide receiver 2? That remains to be seen. And then there's DeSean Jackson. Everyone says, do I want DeSean Jackson back? Personally, I was a little bit pissed off with when we let him go. I mean, he seemed to be focus on him. He's a diva. He's a primetime diva. And some of my greatest Eagle memories on DeSean Jackson, I've got over it. I think when all is said and done, he's a great Eagles wide receiver. And for the right price, I would bring him back. But it's DeSean Jackson. He's not going to come back for the right price. He's going to go wherever pays him the most amount of money. And for a guy that's up to his age, for a guy that's predominantly relied on his speed, and he's only going to get slower as he gets older, I would not take DeSean Jackson for what the money he's probably going to ask. If we can get him on a discount, not really a hometown discount, but a discount, that's where I would be looking at DeSean Jackson. But as it stands right now, I would probably avoid DeSean Jackson. I think wide receiver for this year, we have to go through the draft. I don't really see much in terms of free agency. Guys like Willie Snead, potentially that could be a low flyer with a high upside. I don't want to touch Michael Floyd. That guy, he's got fucking benched on Arizona. You got Kendall Wright, another underachiever. We need, if you're going to spend big money in free agency on a wide receiver, it has to be a guy that will be that number 1 to complement Jordan Matthews as a number 2. And outside of Alshon Jeffrey, which is, like I said, it's going to be a motherfucking lottery, and I think he's going to go to the highest bidding team, rather a team that can win now or a team that's, best suited for him. I think it's going to be incredibly tough to get that in free agency. So we have to go draft, and I'm not, like I said, that's where it is even more difficult, because even though I like Corey Davis, and I think Corey Davis is consensus top 5, but definitely not 1 or 2. I think you're going to see Mike Williams and Juju Smith-Schuster, barring the combine, go ahead of him. I think Corey Davis that's still risky. He might not be a wide receiver 1. He could just be as good as Jordan Matthews, because he reminds me of Jordan Matthews, a little bit faster. But, what you look at Jordan Matthews' tape at Vandy, I see a lot of Corey Davis, which is good, also bad, because we need that one. And I don't really see, unless Corey Davis can really develop into someone, which he potentially might, I don't see that wide receiver 1 in this year's draft class either, which sucks for the Philadelphia Eagles, let's be honest. So then we have to look at a trade, and then you start getting in the realm of fantasy, and it's too tough to predict any type of trade like that. But that is there you go. There, you finally got my opinion on DeSean Jackson. But here's just a little tidbit that I wanted to make a video of. I could have talked about it in one of my live streams, but it's something that really hits home to me. So everyone shits on the Eagles wide receivers for really having bricks for hands. We've seen it with Jordan Matthews. We've seen it with Nelson Agholor. Those would be the two primary examples that I talk about. So what's the difference between the two? Because if that was Nelson Agholor getting a big-time hit to the head, against, you replace that big hit. Well, that's gonna be the context of what I'm going to talk about. Was that big hit by Keanu Neal? If that was Nelson Agholor, would I have been upset? And I think not. And why is that? Why are we so quick to shit on Nelson Agholor but not Jordan Matthews? Well, I think Jordan Matthews somewhat redeems himself. He can catch, Jordan Matthews will catch 85% of the balls. He will just have that one mental lapse usually once a game, and unfortunately sometimes it comes on a crucial down. Nelson Agholor does nothing right. He does absolutely nothing right. But I think it comes back to the personality. You see Jordan Matthews, he doesn't make a catch. You can truly feel the disappointment on his face. You know that he wants to be that great wide receiver. Jordan Matthews is a good guy, high character guy, seems to be, a fan favorite, I would think, even with the drops. I personally love Jordan Matthews. I think he's a great playmaker, and it's just unfortunate they didn't have the wide receiver 1 to help him. But, when Jordan Matthews got hit, I lost it. It felt like, one of my Eagles, one of the guys I identify as, that guy's a fucking Eagle right there. I don't care how many passes Jordan Matthews will drop. He's still a motherfucking Eagle. He's a guy that I will defend to the end of time. Even though he does drop some balls, but he does more good than bad. Let's put it that way. And when I see someone like that, some guy that I respect, and that's a fucking Eagle right there, get fucked up, it makes me mad. I'm like, man, motherfuck you, bitch. I want to get in that. I want to start swinging. I want to go. You see a Falcon fan celebrating after that big time hit. I want to be like, man, fuck you. Put your hands up, motherfucker. We're swinging. You don't hit a guy like that. You don't hit a Fletcher Cox. You don't hit a Rodney McLeod. You don't hit a Malcolm Jenkins. You don't hit a Jason Peters. You don't hit Carson Wentz. You don't hit Darren Sproles. But when you have a guy that doesn't identify with the city, that doesn't identify with the fan base like Nelson Agholor, a guy that just seems like he doesn't care, a guy that, even for as bad as some drops Jordan Matthews has, he still makes great plays. Well, name one good play Nelson Agholor has ever made. If the context of this is just if the roles were switched and that was Nelson Agholor getting fucked up, I mean, I called on Twitter to my buddy that's a Falcon fan. I said, "Oh my God, I'm not gonna wish injury on anybody, but I would not have been upset if Keanu Neal met Nelson Agholor across the middle of the field." And unfortunately, that was what happened with Jordan Matthews. But that happened to Nelson Agholor, I'd be like, good. Now that motherfucker probably going concussion protocol and has to sit on the motherfucking bench and watch some great playmakers that I think are being hindered because of the coach's reluctancy to put and pull Nelson Agholor from the lineup. A Bryce Treggs who looked good. Paul Turner, who was the preseason champ. Guys like that I know that will identify with this fan base, that constantly work hard. You just don't see that fucking work ethic from Nelson Agholor. You have that press conference where he said, that's stupid shit, stop talking about my drops and stuff like that. Where you see a guy like Jordan Matthews that says, I'm going to have to work 10 times harder to be better at this. I'm going to, fucking meet on the, I'll stay 4 hours after practice to work with Carson Wentz to get better. You just don't see that kind of attitude from Nelson Agholor. So I don't really know where I'm going with this. Essentially just saying if the roles were reversed, I don't think I would have got upset if that was Nelson Agholor. I don't know if it's because, I called Jordan Matthews. I've wanted Jordan Matthews ever since I saw him at Vandy to be an Eagle. I don't really know the answer to it. I just have a gut feeling a lot of Eagle fans, a lot of you guys watching this, will have the same kind of feeling with me, where you see a guy like Jordan Matthews who does struggle, but I don't know what it is. He struggles, but we still love him to death. He's still a good guy. He's still a playmaker that we cheer and root for. But then you see a guy like Nelson Agholor, and you just go, man, fuck that guy. There's so many other players that would use that opportunity as a chance to make it. Rather, a guy that we just see first round bust, and he looks like he's ready just to fucking take off his helmet and sit on the bench. So that is my little fifth down here about the Eagles wide receivers. And let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. As always, this is your first time stopping by. Eagle fans, make sure you subscribe. In my honest opinion, I'm the best Eagle channel on YouTube. Fuck EDP. This is C4445 saying peace out.